Good evening, chaps. We have a great show for you this evening. So, I was at a debate tournament this weekend, this last Saturday to be more specific. And what I was doing at my debate tournament was something they call extemporaneous. So, how it works is I know this, maybe this is, oh, by the way, for some reason the table kept looking really weird. I don't know if the table looks really weird right now, but when I was looking at the video, this table keeps looking really weird. So I don't know if that's like my table's broken or my camera's broken or what's up with that. So I guess sometime tomorrow I'm going to have to go look at that and see if I can fix it. But anyways, sorry, I maybe you find this boring, but so in extemporaneous, they give you three topics, and the idea is then you get like questions on a piece of paper, and then you make up a speech in your head, and then you give it to a judge, and the judge ranks you. So you have three different subjects. And one of the subjects for last Saturday's debate I participated in was the war in Palestine. They described it as the Hamas Israel war, which I thought was a quite biased way to describe the war because so why are they saying Israel? Because when they say Israel, that's Palestine. Israel is just the part of Palestine that's occupied. So I don't like that. And Hamas, Israel isn't attacking Hamas; they're attacking Palestine. They're attacking innocent Palestinians. So I found that to be a quite unfair description of the war. But moving on. So the question was, I believe it was, is Israel's response to the massacre at that music concert justified? And as of course all of you know, I responded, no, it was not justified in my speech. But then my judge said something really interesting to me after my speech. She said, and this part is to be expected because um, my debate team is mainly consists of mainstream conservatives, not sort of but the cool based and red pilled, but extremist and fringe group conservatives like myself, but mainstream conservatives. And my judge was telling me, my based woman judge was telling me, so many of the people at this tournament have been defending Israel. And that's because the same people who run Israel run the media in the US, and it's their puppet. That's what she said. And this was really inspiring for me because that was something I wanted to put in my speech, but I didn't because I was scared that if I did, my judge would get angry at me, that my judge would call me an anti-Semite or dock points and make me lose the sport because I'm a bigot. So I thought about in my speech saying, I for a second I was like, so of course none of this is true, but I thought about saying in my speech, in Minecraft, the Jews run the mainstream media, and that's why everyone is shilling for Israel. Of course, that's not what's really happening. That's only what's in Minecraft. In real life, I would never say that media is puppet, and of course, that isn't true. However, my judge told me that. Isn't that interesting? So, what I think is interesting is you sort of think to yourself, with all of this stuff, whether that be this war in Palestine, the issue of the media, the issue of Hollywood, the issue of the banks, um, the issue of Washington, you think to yourself a lot, I think I'm crazy. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? But then you just see all sorts of people just on the street, meet people with those exact same views. Because I've oftentimes asked myself, is this just a bunch of nonsense? But then I meet people in person at random places who agree with me, at a debate tournament, um, and just random places like that, which not like I'm not like going to somewhere where you would expect to see those views, like I don't know, a Nick Fuentes rally, but just normal mainstream places. It's also sort of interesting because when I watch these videos where I've been watching YouTube videos of people simping for or standing for Israel or the globalists or whatever you want to say. And this can be Piers Morgan interviews, this can be random memes, anything. But then all of those videos I've seen have gotten ratioed to smithereens, and all of them I go down through the comment section, and so I go down on one of them, and it's like 3,000 comments. I saw 2 comments that were agreeing with the video, and everyone else in the comment section was saying, "Free Palestine, destroy Israel." This is a bunch of propaganda. This is a bunch of Zionist propaganda. Take this video down. Delete this video. So, what is this? What does this show? What can we learn from this? Well, there's a few things we can learn from both my experience on the internet, but more importantly, my IRL lived experiences. So, we can learn that this is a poor people and normal people, and even some reasonable rich people versus the mega wealthy elites. This is a fight like that. So most normal people, ordinary everyday people, understand that what's happening in Palestine is morally reprehensible. It's evil. They understand it's evil. Most people understand that Benjamin Netanyahu is evil. He's an evil monster. But that's not what. There's a few very rich elites who don't see it that way, or at least don't say they see it that way. But they control the media. They control most of the mainstream politicians. They control social media. They control the U.S. So that's not what you're seeing on your TV and in the newspapers. But I think that experience at my debate tournament last Saturday has further solidified what I already expected, what I already had hoped, which is that right now, more and more Gentiles, as each day goes by, and this is important, as each day goes by, as each week passes, more and more Gentiles, more and more Goyim are waking up to the Jews. They're waking up to the Jewish tricks. They're waking up to the Zionist tricks. They're waking up to the Jew. And they've had enough of it. So many of my fellow teenage boys, so many of my fellow white teenage boys are waking up to this right now. sometimes with issues like that, or I guess, so right now, sometimes I wonder whether any of my ideas of getting a truly based government, getting a truly based leader for the US and the world, making the West based again, whether any of it's actually possible. Because in America, one of our parties is supporting homosexuality, which until 5 minutes ago, everyone in the world universally agreed was disgusting and immoral and should be shamed, is supporting gender fluidity being taught to kindergarteners, is supporting little kids being mutilated to fulfill the desires of a mental illness, is supporting the idea that gender is a social construct, that race is a social construct, is supporting the idea that there are no major biological differences between men and women in stuff like strength and speed. But the other party is so sycophantic and so submissive in regards to Israel that it can watch newborn babies get blown up, women get blown up, elderly people get blown up in mass, in giant swaths of a truckload after truckload of corpses, of mutilated, ruined, disfigured corpses, unrecognizable corpses, and by the boatload, and still say that the country that's responsible for this, the country that purposefully and consciously made the decision to have that happen, knowing what it would look like, deserves to get over 100 billion of our hard tax dollars, of our hard-earned tax dollars. That a party that will bend over and get on its knees for that. It so often feels like right now, to be a liberal is to be a lecherous pervert, and to be a mainstream conservative is to be a Shabbos goy. So what's really the point in fighting? This has been something I've been struggling with recently. But what I just tell myself is look at how many people are based, and but more importantly, look at how many more people are based. It's not there's a group of people that are based. There's it doesn't, even if that was a big group, that wouldn't be important. What's important is that group is growing. It feels like more and more people are waking up. All the time, I hear stories of more specifically white teenage boys that, let's say, oh, I used to just be a normie. I used to just be a liberal or a libertarian or whatever. And then I just recently woke up to the world truth. And I cannot stress enough how important it is that a lot of the people that this is happening to are young people. That is so important. So there's this pastor, John Hagee. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that name, but something like that. And he was saying, so if you support Palestine, you support the Antichrist, because he was like, trying to interpret these Bible verses as Israel is Jesus and Palestine is the Antichrist. So there were so many things wrong with his little speech that he did recently that I don't even know where to start. First off, so Israel represents Jesus. Does he not understand the beliefs of Jews? Or does he understand them and is lying to our faces, is lying through his teeth? Jews hate Jesus. They believe that Jesus was a bad Jew who betrayed Jewish beliefs and that God punished him. They believe that him getting crucified, that our Lord and Savior being crucified, was an act of justice by God. Ben Shapiro openly stated this, that God strike down the bad Jew, Jesus, the bad Jew, Jesus, just as he strikes down all bad people. They believe that Jesus deserves to be tortured for what he did. That's who represents Jesus. Israel. Israel represents Christian beliefs. Israel represents Christian values. And also, he also said that Germany would be part of the evil Antichrist. Germany right now is, perhaps Sweden might give it a run for its money. Perhaps America might give it its run for money. But Germany is generally the most cucked country in the world, politically speaking. Germany so I complain a lot about how much America bends over for Israel. Germany does it even more. Germany is even worse in that regard. Germany does everything Palestine says. This Palestine, this love for Israel is so bad right now that I honestly believe that Israel could release on TV videotapes or live streams of the Israeli government putting Palestinian children in striped pajamas, walking them off into gas chambers, killing them and gassing them with Cyclone B, then dragging their corpses into ovens to burn them into ashes. And America and Germany would still be in love with them. Conservatives, mainstream conservatives, would still be in love with them. So the problems I was talking about, the respective parties, these problems aren't exclusive to the respective parties. For example, a lot of Republicans support homosexuality. For example, when Joe Biden did the law to put same-sex marriage in the Constitution legally, a bunch of Republicans voted for that. So that's bad. Ben Shapiro, he said that it's wrong to he'll say stuff like, oh, it's wrong to shame homosexuality. You shouldn't be mean about homosexuality. I remember in one of those Groyper War clips, there was Ben Shapiro saying like, they said the F word for gay people. F word for gay people? Why don't you just say it? But a lot of where I was going with that was a lot of I got a little bit off topic, but a lot of liberals are also really cucked on the issue of Israel. It's really bad. Like, it's really bad with Joe Biden. It's really bad with Hillary Clinton. It's kind of bad with Obama. It's bad with Barack Obama, I would say. It is bad. Even Bernie Sanders, who's supposed to be like a leftist, not even a liberal, he is he's a cuck for Israel too. Even Bernie Sanders. So it's just a problem. These problems are so widespread that they're affecting everyone. The whole country is going down the drain because of it. And there's a certain group of people that are responsible for that. So far, there's been a bunch of Palestinian journalists killed by Israel so far. The war has only been going on for like a month, I think less than a month. And there's already been a bunch of Palestinian journalists slaughtered by Israel. But do you know? Did they get as much attention as that time that Saudi Arabia, the king of Saudi Arabia, had that journalist tortured to death? No, no one's talking about it. No one cares. So listen to this. Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, a Jew, has journalists slaughtered, violently slaughtered, and nobody cares. But then the king of Saudi Arabia, the Saudi king, has one single journalist brutally, violently slaughtered. And it was a giant news story. It was all you heard about for a month. Everyone was rambling on about it. There were so many tears shed, but no tears shed for this. Why is that? This is because the mainstream media holds Gentiles and Jews to different standards. If Jews kill journalists, nobody cares. But if Gentiles kill journalists, it's a tragedy. They make a big deal out of it. How could this have happened? And it's recently been reported that the main leaders of Hamas, so allegedly they're attacking Palestine because they said we need to destroy Hamas, even though the women and children are being blown up obviously aren't Hamas. But it was recently figured out that almost definitely the leaders of Hamas aren't even in Palestine. They're in Qatar. That's so they're bombing the wrong country, but the bombings are still going on. You know, so Black Lives Matter was a really horrible movement. Black Lives Matter was a Marxist movement. It was an anti-white racist movement. Terrible, terrible movement. And it was also really corrupt. The leaders used the money that was supposed to be for helping Black lives. I don't know why I put that in quotations now that I think about it, but I guess helping Black lives, that wasn't their actual intentions. They used that money to buy big multi-million dollar mansions in white neighborhoods. I guess they agree with us that it's not fun living next to Black people, the founders of Black Lives Matters. No? But so there was also this organization, White Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, these different organizations. Do you know what we would need right now? Gentile Lives Matter. I wanna do that. Gentile Lives Matter. So even though this war has been horrific and disgusting, there have been there is at least one good thing out of it. Arab support for Joe Biden has plummeted. So, um, historically, the Democratic Party has gotten the Arab vote. But if things stay, if the polls are correct, and to be honest, I don't really like polls. I think polls are largely just aren't really true. So I think we should take polls with a grain of salt. But if what they're saying is true, the Democratic Party will not get the Arab vote um, this upcoming election in 2024. Neither will the Republican Party. According to polls, the Arabs will just vote for third party candidates because they hate both parties. This war has been so rough that right now I feel a little bit the same way, though. I'll probably vote for Donald Trump, as problematic as he is. So at this point, Joe Biden, if the polls are correct, will not be receiving the Arab vote in this upcoming election. Recently, the polls have been done, and oh well, actually, so this is not surprising at all because Joe Biden is not only endorsing a giant genocide of Arabs right now, what might be the worst genocide of this century, for all we know, but he's using our money to pay for it. He's using Arabs' money, Arab Americans' money, to pay for a genocide of Arabs. So, no, imagine my shock that Joe Biden won't be receiving the Arab vote. According to recent polls, Donald Trump is beating Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is losing to basically everybody there is. So, Donald Trump, according to polls, and again, take polls with a grain of salt. I don't really believe in polls. Polls are oftentimes wrong. But according to recent polls, more people like Donald Trump than like Joe Biden. And according to polls, everyone thinks almost anyone would be better than Joe Biden. So I guess that's good. So some good news for once. But there's also, so I was talking about how bad the problem is in the Republican Party among mainstream conservatives of Israel. Donald Trump said that Biden isn't pro-Israel enough. Joe Biden just signed a bill to give over $100 billion of our money to Israel and Ukraine, and I believe Taiwan may also have received some of that money. Over $100 billion to a country that is currently doing what might be the worst genocide of this century for those people. And he's not pro-Palestine enough. I mean, not pro-Israel enough, rather. Imagine that. So, it's been rough, but I guess love and support from America to Palestine. I hope you can defeat Israel in this war. And to mainstream conservatives and my party, the Republican Party, stand up straight and stop being a puppet for Israel. Good night. God bless.